What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about how you can start on varsity. So we're going to be going over some tips that you guys can implement to get more playtime and impress your varsity coaches. So first things first, you need to make sure that you are contacting your varsity coaches, asking them if there is anything you can do to prepare for either spring or summer workouts. So something I used to do as a player is that anytime, like I was either a freshman going into a new program or I transferred middle of my high school career to a new program, what I did as a quarterback is I reached out to the coach, was like, hey coach, just want to know if there's anything I need to know. I want to train to prepare for the summer, before summer workouts, and what footballs do you guys use? Just something that's maybe going to open up a line of communication so your name is kind of known by those coaches. Maybe they get back to you, maybe they don't. It's worth a shot, but that is the first step that I would take. Contact your coaches, ask if there's anything you can do to prepare, ask if there's a football that you should maybe get that they use on the specific team, but anything to build a line of communication. Now, the second thing you could do is make sure that you are in your coach's ear after every single practice. So whether this is your position coach, whether this is the offensive coordinator, after practice, make sure you're doing it after practice. Don't do it during the practice. Or maybe, maybe after lift or something like that. I would ask your coach, hey, what did you see today? Is there anything I can improve on? What could I have done better today? What do you guys need to see from me? That just shows that you care, and it builds a better relationship with that coach. You don't want to be annoying about it, not every 5 seconds like, hey, what can I do here? What can I do on this rep? It's not like training. It's not a private training situation. You should be asking your trainer those questions after every rep. But after practice, be like, hey coach, there's a couple things that I need to improve on after today, just so you're in their ear, so you build a relationship and they know that you care. Now fellas, if you're a quarterback or wide receiver watching this video and you would like to train with myself and my staff, we are going to be traveling out to 5 more cities this offseason for 2-day long QB and wide receiver training camps. So guys, go to that very first link in the description below. That is where you can sign up. We are going to be traveling out next to Houston, Texas. Then we'll be heading out to Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and finishing off our camp tour in Los Angeles, California. So guys, if you want to sign up to work with myself and my staff again for 2 full days, go to that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you there. Now fellas, if you're an underclassman, starting on varsity can obviously seem like a daunting task, but one of the ways that you can maybe get your coaches to put more trust in you with a bigger role on the team is playing special teams. So I think oftentimes, at least when I coached high school ball, we didn't necessarily have like a set plan for special teams. What we would do is be like, hey, as coaches, we'd come together, hey, we're going to work on kickoff and kickoff return today. So we would put together like maybe a starting lineup, and then we would have guys be like scout team players, if you will. So if we were working on kickoff return, we'd have, 11 guys that we liked on kickoff return that we thought would fit the mold. And then we'd just take random dudes to play kickoff and try to go down there and make a tackle. So you can stand out in those periods. And if you can showcase effort and you can showcase that you're actually really good at special teams, that's an easy way to get you on the field, just to get you on the field. Now, if you can execute, then maybe we start trusting you a little bit more. I remember when I was a high school coach, I only coached for a year, but I learned a lot in that year. And we would let's say there was a receiver spot that we wanted to fill. We would look at guys that we could trust first. Like, hey, does this guy know the playbook? Does he play special teams? But if he was just a guy who didn't play special teams, didn't really know his playbook, stuff like that, we wouldn't necessarily think of him first to put him in the role. Even if he was more talented than maybe another player, but if there was a player we could rely on who had prior experience with special teams and would give effort, which shows that you're a team first guy, we would roll with that guy. So just make sure that you were trying to play on every single special teams, because that's how you could earn your way into the starting role on offense or defense. Now, tip number 4 I recommend you guys is training with older people. I know this is something that I got a ton of benefit from when I was a young player. I remember I was in 8th grade and I was training with college level receivers, college level quarterbacks with this quarterback coach that I used to work with near the Los Angeles area. And I felt like I got a ton of benefit out of that because, one, I realized that the skill level is not as big as you think, especially with college guys, but they're much faster, they're much bigger individuals, and we're going to talk about that later on in this video. So I had to up my game to be able to compete with those guys because I wanted to be the worst guy at the training session. I didn't want to be the best guy at the training session. If at every single training session you're consistently the best guy, unless you're like top tier 5-star and nobody's better than you, like you need to find a place where you're training or at least going against competition that elevates your game. Because if you're a freshman who wants to start on varsity, if you're a sophomore, underclassman, whatever, you need to have confidence that you could compete with those 18-year-old seniors, 17-year-old seniors who are bigger and faster than you. But again, you got to have the confidence to play at that skill level. So train with older guys. Ask your trainer, ask your coach, can I work out with older dudes? Can I work out with these guys? Because that's only going to make you better. Now, tip number 5, like I just mentioned, you need to get bigger to be able to start on varsity. So if you're a freshman, maybe you're an incoming freshman, you want to play on varsity, you're probably skinny. Just completely being honest with you, if you're a skill position player, you probably don't weigh enough. And the reason why that's important is because the guys on defense, guys on offense, if you're a defensive player, you're getting hit, they're not confident you could take those hits if you're a 125, 130 pounds. You need to gain weight this off season. Now, how I recommend doing that is 3 things. Number 1, being in a calorie surplus, consuming more calories than you burn on a day-to-day basis. Get a calorie tracking tool like a Fitbit, Apple Watch, whatever, and just track the amount of calories that you burn on a regular day where you're working out, you're at school, whatever. And then I would look on the back of food ingredient labels and make sure that you're getting, I would say, like 40 to 50% over your break-even point. You burn 1,000 calories a day, you should be consuming 1,500 calories a day. Now, second point is, big source of those calories need to be protein-based, because you don't want to lose athleticism. You want to put on healthy muscle mass. You don't want to do a dirty bulk where you're just going to slow down. So I recommend trying to consume 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight. So let's say you're that 135-pound freshman. If you want to get to 155, consume 155 grams of protein a day. I think that's a good gauge and very doable. Now, you might need some supplements to add with that. If you guys would like a great protein powder that can help you put on weight specifically designed for athletes, post in the comment section below that you want that protein, and I'll send you over a link. It's a great protein, very easy on the stomach, easy to digest, but will help you gain weight. And then last but not least, you got to get in the gym, guys. If you're trying to put on size, you got to get in the gym. You need to lift. If you're a freshman and you haven't started lifting, you need to start. So you need to be doing just honestly like basic bodybuilding, quote unquote, type lifts will help you out tremendously. If you've never bench pressed before, start doing bench press. Like, work on your form. Obviously, don't try to lift every single weight in the gym and hurt yourself, because that's why people are hesitant to start lifting at a young age. But start doing bench, start doing squats, start doing stuff for your back. You'll be surprised how much weight you will put on if you haven't been lifting consistently. If you start lifting even just 4 times a week, 2 leg days, 2 upper body days, I'm telling you right now, you will put on size, and that will help you compete at a varsity level. Now, to be able to compete on varsity, you need to get faster. So like I mentioned before, speed is one of the biggest differences between like freshman, JV, and varsity. Like, everybody talks about it when they move from high school to college. Oh, the speed of the game. Same thing when you're an underclassman. If you just played like Pop Warner 8th grade ball and you're going into high school, even if it's freshman level, game's a little faster. JV ball, game's a little faster. Varsity ball, it's a lot faster than what you were doing in 8th grade. So you need to improve your speed, especially if you're a skill position player. So I would say speed, like, and if you're a quarterback, I would say speed in your decision making, right? So for speed training, I think, again, there's 3 things that you could do. Number 1, work on your running form. I think if you get a dedicated speed coach or track coach who could clean up some stuff, maybe with your strides. A lot of athletes have very weak hips, they have very weak ankles. All of that's going to make you faster on the field, and strengthening your legs too. Now, number 2 is going to be training with resistance. I would say 2 times a week, you should be doing some type of resistance training, running with hills, or running up a hill, running with a sled, running with a parachute. That is something that I did that got me tremendously faster. And then last but not least, stretching. I'm telling you this right now, you guys, one of the biggest, I was stuck at a 4.840 for freaking forever, like literally forever. And I just couldn't break it, couldn't break it, couldn't break it. And I had a speed coach tell me one time, hey, how often do you stretch? I'm like, I don't stretch. And I was always decently flexible, but getting your hips looser, your hip flexors, your groins looser. And I dropped my 40 time to like a low 4.6 in literally just a couple of months from just stretching. Now, is that going to be for everybody? No, that's something that worked well for me, but you need to make sure that you're stretching, running form, training with resistance, and that will get you faster for varsity ball. Now, tip number 7, you guys, make sure that you know your playbook. I can't stand the fact, like, I get so many DMs, so many comments from athletes where it's like, hey coach, like, I feel like the guy that's ahead of me, I'm better than him. Like, why am I not playing? My coaches hate me. And I'm like, well, do you know your playbook? And they're like, well, no, I'm new to the school, so I don't know everything about it. That's why. Like, if they can't trust you to execute on the field, they're going to go with the guy that they can trust to execute on the field. Think about it from a quarterback perspective. If you got 2 quarterbacks, one has just like a monster arm and throws the ball super hard, looks the part, but he doesn't know a single play, and you got a guy who's maybe not as good, but he knows the playbook, and you can win with that guy and build an offense around that guy because you got like a field general on the field, they're going to go with that guy every single time, and that goes for any position. You need to know your assignment. So you should treat it like another class. Most of you probably have 6 like core classes that you take at school. Maybe some of you have 5, right? Make football an extra one. Make a set of note cards with your playbook. Write on one side the name of the play, other side draw out the full play. Test yourself by writing it out in a notebook. It's all repetition, and if you rep that out, you're going to be prepared. You're going to know the varsity level playbook, and that's what's going to help you play. But you need to know the plays. Don't make the mistake I made as like a sophomore player. I was on JV as a sophomore at this high school that I went to, right? And I felt I could have competed on varsity. I felt like I could have gotten time on varsity, but there were a lot of times where like they would implement plays and they would make it like, oh, these are just like varsity varsity plays, right? Like the JV don't need to know this. And so I wouldn't even like bother looking at it because I'm like, oh, I don't need to know this. I should have looked at it because what if the starter goes down? I want to be able to go in and not miss a beat and get my reps in and be able to get good plays. So just even if it's like varsity plays for the varsity, you should still know it. If coaches won't tell you to play, ask an assistant coach. If he won't tell you to play, ask other players. You need to know your stuff and you need to know your playbook. Now, last but not least, availability. That is your best trait as a football player. You need to be at everything because you never know what might happen. Every off-season lift, every off-season workout, every team function, you need to be there. One, because showing your face is good because coaches see that you're like bought in and that you care and that you're like invested into the football program, right? That's number one. But number two, if you're missing practice, you're missing an opportunity. You're missing lift, you're missing an opportunity. In the weight room, guys, you should be showing up to compete. That's at least how I was. Like every quarterback that I was lifting against, I wanted to lift more, I wanted to work harder, I wanted to do more, and then on the field, I wanted to do the exact same thing. On the field, I wanted to do every single drill, every single route, every single play better than the other guys that I was competing with, even when I was the starter, right? So that's the attitude that you need to have. Now, the reason why I say your best trait is availability, what if the receiver goes down with, like, let's say you're a receiver. What if one of the receivers goes down with the flu? What if one of the receivers misses practice because he's got an appointment? What if he's at a visit at a college or something and you get an opportunity to go play with the varsity 1 group as an underclassman and you do really well? Maybe they start looking at you. Maybe they're like, hey, when this guy comes back from his visit, he'll have his spot, but maybe we fit him in somewhere else because he showed us a lot today. So you need to be at everything. Your best trait as a football player is availability.